Hi, welcome to Roy's Game Table. Today we're going to be playing a game of Marvel Champions living card game, Black Panther Justice versus the Wrecking Crew. So pull up a chair and let's see who wins. Alright, so I went ahead and got everything set up. The encounter cards are just off screen up here, and the deck for Black Panther is back here. I have them off screen so I could tighten up a little bit. But I decided to go with Black Panther Justice today because I've played that kind of deck against a couple other villains, Green Goblin, Mutagen Formula, and Claw, and had some success. And I just decided I wanted to use that today. Plus, I had originally thought about going with Captain America Aggression for my first playthrough against Wrecking Crew, but Dale the Casual Gamer has already done that playthrough with Captain American Aggression, and I didn't want to copy him, so I decided to just go with Black Panther. He's one of my favorite heroes out of the core set anyway, so we'll see what happens there. But one thing I did copy from Dale the Casual Gamer is I'm using the first player token to denote who the active villain is, and I thought that was a good idea, so I'm going to be using that. And of course, these dice here, they're not from Marvel Champions. They're just some dice I had from Aeon's End that I'm using to track the health of the Wrecking Crew. Again, to try to conserve space and get as tight of a camera angle as I can. So hopefully that'll work. But let's go ahead. I've already shuffled, like I said, the decks. And I've drawn up the starting hand for Black Panther. And I have Avengers Mansion, Power of Justice, Wakanda Forever, Energy Daggers, Endurance, and Concussive Blow. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't really need the Concussive Blow, I don't think, and the Power of Justice right now. I'm going to discard those. And I am going to keep the Energy Daggers. I have 4 other copies of Wakanda Forever, so I'm going to discard those for now because it's not real valuable right now with just Energy Daggers. But I am going to keep Endurance, Energy Daggers, and I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this Avengers Mansion. Maybe I can draw up and be able to get this into play this turn. I don't know. I may end up using it for a resource, but so I'm going to draw up this back up to 6 after my mulligan. So I got Panther Claws, Nick Fury, and Daredevil. So a couple of allies. Hate to see those come out so early because I'd like to get them into play. I've got this deck full of as many allies as I could get because I like to have a lot of allies when I'm playing solo to soak up damage. But anyway, that's what it is. And so I've got Energy Daggers and Panther Claws. And I think for my setup ability, I'm going to go in and fetch the Vibranium Suit. All right, so I've got 7 cards in hand. And I think I'm going to start off by going ahead and putting in the suit. And I'm going to pay, I think, Nick Fury and Daredevil to pay for that, to bring that into play. And then I want to bring Endurance in to go ahead and give him some health. So I'll put that next to there, and I'm going to use Avengers Mansion. I got 2 more copies of that, so I'll put that into play. So he'll go from 11 to 14. And then I have Energy Daggers and Panther Claws. I really don't want to lose. Well, I can't pay for both of those, so I'll have to just hang on to those. So unfortunately I have to go to the next turn with those, but I'm going to go ahead and flip over to Black Panther. And I'm going to attack Bulldozer for 2, bringing him down from 14 to 12. And that'll be it for the turn. I'll have to draw up to 5. All right, start of the villain turn to put 1 threat on the main scheme. And then with Breakout, you put 1 threat on the main scheme. Once you do that, the force response says you put 1 threat on all the side schemes in play. So I'll go ahead and do that. All right, and so Bulldozer is going to attack. He has an attack of 2, and his force response is that when he's attacking, he gets +2 if it's undefended. And I think I'm going to go ahead and defend it. I should be okay. I think that's probably the best thing to do. So I'm going to defend it. So his boost card, he's going to have a base attack of 2 and +1 boost. So 3. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So I'll drop Black Panther down to 13. And the retaliate damage from Black Panther will drop him down to 11. And now for the encounter card. It's going to be a minion that's going to come into play, and he'll come into play with 3 health. And he's a guard, so I can't attack any of the villains while I have that guy in play, so I'm going to have to get him out of the way. So that's the end of the villain phase. I think I'm going to put in energy daggers. And I'll use Power of Justice and Heroic Intuition to pay to bring those in. And so I have Wakanda Forever and a Panther Claws. I could use the Panther Claws to go ahead and use these abilities, and I may do that, although it is nice to have that damage for Panther Claws and I don't want to lose it. But I don't want to keep everything in my hand. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use Panther Claws to pay for a Wakanda Forever. So I'm going to heal 1 back to 14 and deal 1 to this guard, and then Energy Daggers. Energy Daggers is not an attack, so I can actually deal 2 to everything, so I will. I'm going to take this guard out. And then Wrecking Crew, Wrecker will drop from 11 to 9. And then Thunderball will drop from 13 to 11. Piledriver from 11 to 9, and he will not retaliate. He has a retaliate 1, but he won't retaliate because it's Energy Daggers is not an attack. And then Bulldozer will go from 12 down to 10. All right, so I'll draw back up. Ready, Black Panther. Okay. All right, so so I put the thread on that, so I got to put 1 thread on each of the other ones. Bringing Bulldozer side scheme up to 6. Piledriver will go up to 5. Thunderballs will go up to 7, and Wrecker will go up to 8. And Wrecker still has the highest. So he's going to attack, and I want to be able to use Black Panther next time. So I think what I'm going to do is just let the attack come through. So he's actually going to have 4 plus 1. So he's going to do an attack of 5 to Black Panther. So he'll drop him down from 14 to 9. And the retaliate damage will drop Wrecker down to 8. And then the encounter card, Buddy System. And so when revealed, choose the villain whose side scheme has the least threat. Reveal the top card of his deck. The top 2 cards instead if he's the only villain in play. So the villain whose side scheme has the least amount of threat on it right now should be Piledriver. Yes, so I have to reveal the top card of his deck. And it says Distracting Taunts. Attached to Piledriver, Piledriver gets +3 hit points. Players cannot attack other villains, and that's not the one I wanted to see. I was hoping that would never come out, but unfortunately it will. Now I can, after my hero attacks, I can spend 2 fist resources to discard that card. But so anyway, he gets +3 hit points, so he'll go from 8 back up to 11, and he's the only villain that I can attack now, and he has a retaliate 1. So I'm gonna want to get rid of that. Okay, so that was the encounter phase, the encounter card draw. Now I've got, well, I do have a Vibranium to be able to get rid of that Distracting Taunt. I don't really want to use it for that, but I may not have much of a choice. So I think I'm going to go ahead and attack Piledriver for 2, dropping him back from 11 down to 9. And the Retaliate 1 will drop Black Panther to 8. And then I will spend the Vibranium, the 2 wild resources from Vibranium, as fist resources to discard this card. All right, and then I have 4 cards. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a Golden City, spending 2 for Justices to pay for that. And then that'll be it. So I'll draw back up to 5. And ready, Black Panther. Okay, thread on the main scheme is starting to build up. Put 1 on each of the side schemes. And Wrecker is still the active villain, so he'll attack for 2. I'm gonna have to defend this time, so it's just gonna be 2 plus 1, and so that's 3 minus 2. He'll take 1 damage, bringing Black Panther down to 7, and the Retaliate damage will drop him to 7. Okay, and then the encounter card is your dead meat. And so it says, when revealed, deal 1 damage to the hero or ally with the fewest remaining hit points. Well, I'm the only hero out, so it's 1 damage to Black Panther, bringing him down from 7 to 6. And if that character is defeated this way, place 3 threat on Wrecker's side scheme, but nobody was defeated. Okay, so my next turn. And let's see, I've got a lot of good cards here. All right, I think I'm going to put in a Helicarrier. I'm going to use Avengers Mansion and Strength to pay for those. And then I think I'm going to flip Black Panther to his alter ego side so I can use the Golden City to draw 2 cards. And I got Tactical Genius and Interrogation Room. And so I'll put in Tactical Genius and pay Wakanda Forever. Well, I'll pay a Mockingbird and Interrogation Room, I guess, to put that in. And I'll just hold on to this Wakanda Forever for the next round. So he's on alter ego form. All right, so I'll draw it back up to 6 because he's in alter ego form. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So everything all ready? So the main scheme is up to 4. So I'm going to have to do something about that, and I will in a minute. All right, and so Wrecker's scheme now has 10 on it, and after threat is placed here, if there is 10 or more threat here, deal 2 damage to each friendly character. So Black Panther will go down to 4. And then remove all but 3 threat. Okay, well, all the threat came off of Day of Reckoning over here, the side scheme, but I think you only move the counter during the breakout phase because it says after step 1 of the villain phase, place 1 threat on each side scheme, move the active counter to the villain whose scheme is the most threat there. So I think you only do it then. So he should still be the active villain. I think that's correct. So anyway, he'll attack for 2. Actually, he won't attack. He'll scheme for 2. So it's a scheme of 2, and it's a boost. And the boost says, move the active counter to the villain whose side scheme has the least threat, which is him. If you're in hero form, that villain attacks you after this attack. That attack does not get a boost card. So it'll stay with Wrecker. So he schemes just for 2. So we'll put 2 more threat on his scheme. And then the encounter card will come from his deck as well. And it says Mystical Link. When revealed, place 2 threat on each side scheme. So he'll go from 5 to 7. And Thunderball will go from 9. His will actually trigger. So we'll go ahead and fire that off. It'll drop down to 3. And it stuns each, when his goes off, it stuns each of the friendly characters. So T'Challa is stunned. And then his goes from 7 to 9. So Piledriver's is close, but it's not there. And his will go from 8 to 10. So his will fire off as well. And it's going to drop back down to 3. And his says if there's 10 or more threat here, each player must discard the top 10 cards of their deck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm already almost out of my deck. I got 1 card left in it. All right, that was pretty brutal. That was not a good draw for me. So it's Black Panther's turn. I got 6 cards. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and heal for 4, bringing him from 4 up to 8. And then I'm going to use the Golden City to let him draw 2 cards, so he'll draw 1. And I'm going to have to shuffle to get the other one. 2, and the good news is Shuri was at the bottom of the deck, so now she can go in and fish out his Panther Claws, and he'll have his whole suit. And so I will go ahead and put Shuri into play. And I'm going to spend an energy to do that. And I haven't forgotten about the helicarrier, but I might be using that for something different. So I'm going to have her, when she comes into play, I'm going to have her get the Panther Claws, put it into his hand. Okay. And then I'm going to use helicarrier to reduce the next card I play by 1. So I'm going to put in Panther Claws. And I'll use the other helicarrier here in my hand to pay for that. So now I've got all of his upgrades in. And then I'm going to flip Black Panther. Before I do anything else, I'll just have her go ahead and thwart. And so she'll take 1 damage, dropping her down to 2, or she's going to take a consequential damage. And I'm going to have her thwart off of the main scheme here. And then I have 2 Wakanda Forevers in my hand, so I'm going to be using those. So I'm going to go ahead and use 1 and use the surveillance team to pay for 1 of them. And I think I'll have the Panther Claws, go ahead and use the Panther Claws to knock off this stun, to get rid of this stun. And you don't have to exhaust his suit, but I'm going to do it so I can remember which ones I've played. And let's see, they're all actually pretty low, except Piledriver is about to hit, so I'm going to want to take some off of that. So I'll use the Tactical Genius to remove a threat from his. And then I'll have Vibranium Suit heal Black Panther 1. Bring him up to 9. And then deal a damage to Wrecker. And then I'm going to have Energy Daggers deal 2 damage to all of them. So Wrecker will go to 4. And then Thunderball will go from 11 to 9. Piledriver will go to 9 to 7. And again, he won't retaliate because Energy Daggers is not an attack. And then Bulldozer will go from 10 to 8. Okay. That was one Wakanda Forever. I have another one in my hand. I'm going to play it now. Use the surveillance team to play that. And this time, I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Vibranium Suit to heal Black Panther up to 10. And put the damage on... Oh, I forgot to deal an encounter card because I had to reshuffle my deck. And so that would come from Wrecker. Well, I'll put this over here. I'll put it here so I don't forget it. Okay, so I didn't really like how Bulldozer made me discard those cards. I'm going to drop him down to 7. And then I'll have Tactical Genius. Take a thread off of the main scheme, drop it down to 2. Then I'll have Panther Claws. No, I won't. I have Energy Dagger deal 1 damage to everybody. And so Wrecker goes to 3, Thunderball to 8. Piledriver to 6, Bulldozer to 6, and then I'm going to have Panther Claws deal 4 damage. I'm going to have him deal it to Wrecker to knock him out of the game. Now, this is the encounter card that came from his deck, but I'm pretty sure, I don't really know if I resolve it. I guess I do, and then I'll just remove it from the game when I'm done. But all this is removed from the game. His side scheme, he is, and his encounter deck. And yes, I just checked the rules, and when a villain is defeated, any of his encounter cards in play stay in play, and so I guess I'm assuming that's in play, so we'll have to resolve that, but everything else is going to be removed. And so someone else will be the villain. Well, I got 1 card left, can't do anything with it, so I'll bring everybody back up. Draw back up to 5. All right, start of the villain phase. So this will get 1. Bring it up to 3, and then everybody will get 1 on their scheme. So he's at 9. I gotta be careful with that, or his is gonna fire off, which would mean I'd have to discard a support or upgrade. And then well, that's going to go to Piledriver. So Piledriver will become the new active villain. And so he'll attack. He's going to attack with 2. And I think I'll just go ahead. I'll just take whatever damage comes. So 2. And there's a boost, discard, or support you control. So he's going to do 2 damage. Let's see, I have to discard a support I control, which I guess, I don't want to do either one. It's either going to be the Golden City or Helicarrier. I guess I'll get rid of Helicarrier. Well, I'll get rid of the Golden City because I can only really use that when I flip anyway to Alter Ego. I guess I'll get rid of that and keep my Helicarrier to reduce. But he's going to do 2 damage. Dropping him down to 8. And then draw another encounter card because I'll have to do 2 this time. This is the one from when my deck had to be reshuffled. So it says, when revealed, I am in hero. Wrecker attacks you, but he's not in the game. Then move the active villain counter to the villain whose side scheme has the least threat. Okay, so That's going to be a tie between Thunderstruck and Clear the Road. So that's going to make Thunderball. I'll just put it on Thunderball, have him. Yeah. And then the other one, it's an escaped convict, so it's going to do Surge. So he's going to come in with 2 health. And he surges, but I'll have to draw from Thunderball's deck, I guess, because he's now the new active. And his says held hostage. Attached to the active villain's side scheme, which will be Thunderball's. Threat cannot be removed from attached scheme by thwarting. Hero action. The villain corresponding to the attached side scheme attacks you and then discard it. So I'll put it with his, and so I can get rid of that, but I have to have him attack my hero in order to get rid of that. And I'm not going to be able to remove threat unless I do, but it's only at 4, so I don't have to worry about that right now, I don't think. Okay, so it's back to my turn. I've got a hand of 5, and I think what I'm going to do is, I lost my Golden City, so I'm just going to go ahead and put Avengers Mansion in here. I'm going to spend, I'm going to use Helicarrier to reduce that by 1. And I'll spend all but Daredevil to do that, because I want to be able to get Daredevil in play later. I'll go ahead and draw a card. And it's Concussive Blow. And so, all right, I'll have Shuri thwart for 1 to take this down to 2, the main scheme. So she'll drop to 1. And then I'm going to have Black Panther go ahead and take out this convict, just so we can get him out of the way. And then I'll go into Piledriver's discard pile over here. And I think that's it. So I'm going to discard Concussive Blow. I don't really think I need it. Ready everything. And draw back up to 5. Okay. All right, so the main scheme will go back up to 3. And then all of them will get 1. He's up to, Bulldozers is at 5. Piledriver is going to be at 10. I guess we'll go ahead and finish that. So Piledrivers will go off, and that is when there's 10 threat there, discard the upgrade or support they control with the highest cost. And so that is going to be my Avengers Mansion, because it's 4. And then his will drop down to 3. Okay. So after step 1 of the villain phase, you place 1 threat on each side scheme, move the active counter to the villain whose scheme has the most threat. Well, we'll just keep it with Thunderball, because now he does, because Piledrivers went off. So I think that's right. So, all right. So Piledriver will attack for 1. And Shuri's going to take this. So it's going to be 1. And then it has a boost icon. Move the active counter to the villain whose side scheme has the least threat. So that's going to be Piledriver. If you're in hero form, that villain attacks you after this attack, and that attack does not get a boost. So I'll have to remember that. I'll set it right here. But he deals 1 damage to Shuri, and that's enough to knock him out. And then after the Thunderball attacks you, deal 1 damage to each character you control. So that's going to drop him down to 7. And then after this, I am in hero form, so now Piledriver is going to attack. And his attack is 2. I will defend this. So his attack is 2, and then 3. 3 minus 2 is only 1, so he'll go down to 6. And the retaliate damage will drop him down to 5. So Piledriver is at 5, Thunderball is at 8, and Bulldozer is at 6. Okay, so Piledriver has the new, he's the new active crew member. And so the encounter card will come from his deck. And it is Escape Plan. When revealed, you were confused. And if you are already confused, Piledriver schemes. Well, he was not, so I'm just confused. All right, I guess it could have been worse. All right, let's see here. It's his turn. I have a Wakanda Forever. And I do want to play it. So I will. I'm going to use Helicarrier to play the Wakanda Forever. And we'll use the Tactical Genius to get rid of this Confuse. And then we'll use Energy Daggers to hit everybody for 1. So bringing Thunderball down to 7. Piledriver down to 4. Bulldozer down to 5. And then we'll use Vibranium Suit to heal Black Panther up to 7. And I'll deal a damage to Bulldozer. And then for the last part of the sequence, Panther Claws will deal 4 damage to an enemy. And that's going to be Piledriver, and it's enough to kill him. And he won't retaliate because he won't survive it. So that's going to go to somebody else. But Piledriver is out of the game. So we'll remove all of his. Okay. So that was my Wakanda Forever. And then I have 4 cards left. And I think what I want to do is I'd like to get Mockingbird into play. I want to get an ally into play. And so I might as well do Mockingbird because I have the resources to pay for her. So put her into play over here and use these other 3 cards to pay for it. When she comes in, I'll stun a villain. And it looks like it's going to be a tie, so I could probably stun either one of them I want. I'll go ahead and stun. Thunderball so that he can't attack. And I'll probably just keep him as the active villain. But then when she comes in, she'll come in with 3 health, and we'll have her thwart for 1 to take the main scheme down to 2, back down to 2, and she'll drop down to 2. So I'll ready everything. Draw back up to 5. And let's see, I got some resources, a lot of resources, but another Wakanda Forever, that's good. Hopefully, maybe that'll help me win, who knows. But villain phase now, this will go back up to 3. I'll put 1 on every scheme. So his is going to go up to 6. And his will go up to 6. And since they're tied, I'll just leave him as the active one because he's stunned. So Thunderball is the active one. He'll go to attack, but he won't because he's stunned. And so the encounter card is going to be Chaos in the Prison. And so when revealed, choose to either discard an upgrade you control or place 1 threat on the active villain side scheme for each upgrade you control. If you do not control any upgrades, this card gains Surge. Well, he's only at 6, and I only control 1 upgrade, which is my Endurance over here. So I'm not going to discard it because I don't want to lose that health. So I'm going to just place the 1 threat on the active villain side scheme. So he'll go up to 7. All right. Wasn't too bad. Okay. So I'm going to have I'm going to do Wakanda Forever. And I'll pay this, well, I'll just pay Strength, I guess, to pay for that. No, I won't. I'll use my Helicarrier to do that. Why would I don't know why I'm forgetting that. So, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to use Vibranium Suit to heal Black Panther for 1 back up to 8 and deal 1 to Thunderball, bringing him down to 6. I'm going to use Energy Daggers to deal everybody 1 damage, so Thunderball is at 5. Bulldozer is at 3. And then I'll use Tactical Genius to remove a threat for the main scheme. And then I'm going to use Panther Claws to do 4 damage to Bulldozer, knocking him out of the game. So he's gone. I got 1 left. Got Thunderball left. It's just me and him, mano a mano, and I'm feeling pretty good. I hope I haven't made a lot of mistakes. This is the first time I've actually played the Wrecking Crew, but I think I've been doing everything pretty much right. All right, and let's see. His side scheme is at 7, and I don't think it'll go off before I can defeat him. So I'm going to have Mockingbird come in and drop her down to 1. I'm going to have her deal 1 damage to him, drop into 4. And then let's see, I'll put in a Heroic Intuition just for the fun of it on Black Panther. And I'll use the Power of Justice to pay for that. And then all I have is resources. I'll just keep those in my hand. And I will use Black Panther to go ahead and deal 2 damage to Thunderball, dropping him down to 2. And so that should be it. I have these 2 cards. I'll draw back up to 5. Good. I got some damage that I can use if I need to, but I think I'm going to win the game. All right. So this goes up to 3, and this goes up to 8. He has 8 now on that. Okay, and then Thunderball is going to attack for 1. I'll have Mockingbird take this attack. So it's a base attack of 1 plus 3 is 4. And that's obviously enough to take her out. So she came in and took that damage for him. And then after his force response, after Thunderball attacks, you deal 1 damage to each character you control. So that means Black Panther will go to 7. All right. And then so the encounter phase. Energy projectiles. So when revealed, deal 1 damage to each friendly character you control. So dropping him down to 6. All right, next turn. I don't think I unexhausted Black Panther, but it doesn't matter. I can win the game without him. Because what I'm going to do is I'll use Helicarrier to bring in Lockjaw over here. And I'll spend, so that's 1. And I'll spend these 2 for 3 to bring him in. And we'll have Lockjaw do the final 2 damage to take out Thunderball. Well, there you go. That's Black Panther Justice versus the Wrecking Crew. Now, that was on normal, so it may have seemed easy, but it was on normal. Expert, they get a little bit more hit points. I'm sure it's much tougher. But anyway, that's Marvel Champions, the card game, Black Panther Justice versus the Wrecking Crew. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so you'll know of any future playthroughs and videos that I put up. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.